Now we're going to talk about hunger cues or false hunger cues, sensations, emotions, feelings, distractions, things that we think are hunger or we mistake for hunger or the desire to eat, and they're really something else. So how many of us sit down to complete a task? You got a stack of papers to grade, you have to write an essay, you have to complete something that you're kind of dreading or you know is just something that you don't want to get done right then and there. You sit down for 2 minutes, you start grading those papers, and all of a sudden you're hungry. But you look at the clock and you've eaten an hour before, maybe 2 hours, even 3 hours before. It's not time for your snack. Your body shouldn't be physically hungry, but something in your mind is saying, okay, let me get up and get some food. Some food will be something to do. And I hear this a lot. People say they eat out of sadness, they eat out of boredom, they eat out of loneliness. Some people eat out of joy, and some people eat out of procrastination. It doesn't stop there. Actually, physical sensations can make us eat as well. If you're ever sitting in a sweltering hot day, feeling like you just want to eat ice cream or popsicles or grab another cold soda or grab some cold fruit, anything that's coming out of your fridge, you want to eat it. Maybe think it's not so much that you want to eat something cold, you want to be colder. So even things that are small sensations in your body, you're not really recognizing where the need is coming from. If you recognize the need, if you recognize the root, you can actually identify the real solution. So is eating a real solution to cooling you down? Not really, not at all actually. A real solution to cooling you down is standing in front of a fan, getting into a cold bath, using a cold compress, maybe drinking a cold glass of water. And the top hunger cue, that's not really a hunger cue, is actually thirst. So a lot of people get hungry or feel hungry, feel like they want to eat food, when in reality, they're thirsty. So whenever you feel hungry and you've just eaten, one of the first things you should do is drink some water. Second thing you should do is ask yourself, okay, when was the last time I ate? Again, if it was within the last hour or two, you probably don't need food. And then you have to ask, well, what is it that's going on with me right now? Am I sad? Am I lonely? Am I bored? Why do I want to eat above doing anything else? What's happening? A good way to kind of complete that task instead of just having it jumbled in your brain is actually sit down and make a list. Make a list of all the reasons you would eat in that moment or on a daily basis or just in general in your life, all the reasons why you might eat that have nothing to do with food. You identify those reasons, again, probably loneliness, sadness, boredom. Take those things, put them on a list. Next to each one, write 3 things that you can do that have nothing to do with food to quell each of those emotions or to quell each of those sensations. Before you know it, so many options will come flooding to your brain that have nothing to do with eating. And in that moment, you actually realize how innovative you can be with your time. So let's say again, you're eating out of boredom, right? You're bored at 2:00 p.m. You decide to go eat something. You're done 5 minutes later. At 2:05, you're still bored, but you're now 1,500 calories maybe, let's say if you're a binge eater, or 500 calories up, and you're still in the same position you were in before you ate. So did eating create an activity? Actually not. Maybe some better things to do, go for a walk, call a friend, and these things should be instant. They should be instantaneous, things that you can do right then and there. Can't really be go to a movie. Sometimes that's not possible. Maybe you can turn on a movie, you can pick up a book, you can do a crossword puzzle, you can play Scrabble online, you can Google a recipe online if you want to feel creative, you can start writing in a journal. So these are mechanisms you can employ for almost any of those emotions. Loneliness, call a friend, light a candle, take a bath, do something that makes you feel like you're in good company of something other than calories. You're sitting there and you're lonely. How much is food going to really keep you company? It's going to fill your body, but it's not really going to fill your soul. So these are some really important things to pay attention to. And again, a really good trick, if you really feel hungry in your body and you have just eaten, a good trick is to down a bunch of water, not too quickly, but make sure that you're not mistaking that thirst for a hunger. So this happens all too often, and people don't really recognize that overeating doesn't only happen in one sitting during your meal. We're aimless eaters sometimes and we don't really realize. And a lot of the time, you can be eating without knowing it. And how does this happen? It doesn't have to be sleep eating, but ever sit in front of the TV and there's a bowl of nuts that sit there for guests or a bowl of candies and you're sitting in front of the TV and before you know it, you've gone like this maybe 14 times. And that can actually add up, to upwards of 300 calories, maybe 500, 900 in a bad sitting if you're finishing a bowl of nuts. So aimless eating is a really big thing. If you're attending to what you're doing, you're present in your task, and you don't mix anything else with eating, you can assure that you're not going to eat out of anything other than hunger. And it's not to say that we don't eat for other reasons. Eating is cultural, eating is social, eating is, an activity. Usually we surround ourselves, social situations are surrounded around eating, and that's okay. But really noticing when you're full, when you're not, when you're hungry, when you're not, and what are you really mistaking there? So getting to the root of it can actually prevent overeating disaster time and again. So again, next time you think you're hungry, a couple of tricks. Check back the clock and take a look at when the last time was that you ate. Identify whether or not your body needs food. Sometimes your hunger is hunger. If it's been 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe you need a snack. If not, drink a glass of water. Number 2 reason, or actually maybe the number 1 reason that people want to eat something is because they're thirsty. Drink a glass of water and reevaluate. Number 3, try to identify what's really going on. If you have other emotions coming up, if you're sad, angry, lonely, tired, ask yourself, is food going to fix any of those things? And the answer is no. And because the answer is consistently going to be no, write down at least one thing, one activity, one thing you can do that will quell the issue that you're having that has nothing to do with food. And this is a surefire way to make sure that you're not going to overeat and you're not going to miss out on actually finding a solution to what's really going on.